Imagine tomorrow morning, football wakes up and the rule book is gone. Not changed, not updated, not reviewed by VAR for 3 business days. Somebody at football headquarters spills coffee on the rule book, looks at the mess, and says, "Honestly, let's just see what happens." And for one glorious afternoon, modern football has no rules. No fouls, no offside, no handball, no cards, no throw-ins, no corners, no goal kicks, no authority. Just 22 professional athletes, 1 ball, and the same amount of organization as a school lunch line after someone says free pizza. The match begins normally. The referee blows the whistle. The center midfielder takes 1 calm touch. Beautiful. Elegant. Tactical. Then he remembers the rules are gone. Picks the ball up with both hands, tucks it under his arm, and starts running toward goal like an airport dad who just heard final boarding. The defenders freeze. The referee freezes. The commentators freeze. One defender points and says, "Can he do that?" And the referee says nothing, because technically today, nobody knows what that means anymore. Welcome to football without rules. The first thing to die would be passing. Why pass with your feet when hands exist? Suddenly, every midfielder becomes a confused basketball player. One guy is bouncing the ball. Another is chest passing it across the pitch. A winger tries a no-look throw and immediately acts like he invented vision. The goalkeeper complains, "That's handball," then remembers handball is dead and has a small personal crisis near the post. Strikers would love it. They would stop practicing finishing and start practicing package delivery. One striker catches the ball, walks into the penalty area, gently places it in the net, and celebrates like he just scored a bicycle kick from space. The defending team surrounds the referee. The referee says, "I don't make the laws," which is a problem, because today, nobody does. But handball chaos is only the starter. The main course is offside disappearing, and the second offside disappears. Strikers become real estate investors. They are not making runs anymore. They are moving in. One striker stands inside the 6-yard box with his hands on his hips. Another sits beside the goal post like he's waiting for a bus. A third one asks the goalkeeper, "Is the Wi-Fi good here?" The goalkeeper is trying to focus, but there are now 4 attackers standing 2 feet away from him, breathing aggressively. This is no longer football. This is home invasion with shin pads. Defenders would have no defensive line, no trap, no structure, just panic. The center back looks at his teammates and says, "Who's marking the guy inside our goal?" And the left back says, "Which one?" Because without offside, every attack becomes one long ball to a striker who has been living rent-free in the penalty box since breakfast. Midfielders would be useless. Why build through midfield when you can launch the ball over everyone like a medieval catapult? Tactics would go from chess to kick it at the camping guy. Managers would still pretend it was strategy. You'd see one coach on the sideline with a whiteboard explaining, "Phase 1, ignore midfield. Phase 2, hit the man standing illegally beside the goalkeeper. Phase 3, there is no Phase 3. We are already animals." But then comes the rule that keeps everyone's bones attached. Fouls. Take away fouls, and defending becomes a contact sport with emotional damage. At first, players test the limits. A little push, a little shirt pull, a tiny shoulder. Then 5 minutes later, a center back launches himself into a tackle like he's trying to delete someone from history. A winger does 1 step over and immediately gets sent into another postcode. Nobody blows the whistle. Nobody stops play. The defender gets up and points at the ball like, "I touched it emotionally." Dribblers would retire. Skill moves would disappear overnight. Nobody is doing rainbow flicks when the reward is becoming a chalk outline. Every winger would receive the ball, look at the defender, and pass it backwards out of pure survival instinct. The beautiful game becomes the careful game. And the scariest player on the pitch would not be the striker. It would be that one defender who already looked suspicious when rules existed. You know the type. Big neck, tiny patience, runs like the grass owes him money. With no fouls, that man becomes football's final boss. He doesn't tackle the ball. He tackles the idea of hope. Then someone asks, "Okay, but what about cards?" Great question. There are no cards either. No yellow, no red, no warning, no punishment. The referee reaches into his pocket and finds nothing but regret. He can't book anyone. He can't send anyone off. He can only point at grown men and make disappointed dad faces. A player commits 7 crimes in 1 counterattack, and the referee just follows him around like a stressed substitute teacher. Please stop. The player does not stop. Because why would he? There are no consequences. And football with no consequences creates a monster. A defender handballs it, body checks the striker, steals the ball, argues with himself, dives for a penalty in his own box, then celebrates in front of the corner flag. The referee tries to control him by talking. That lasts 4 seconds. Now imagine the managers. Managers already lose their minds over throw-ins. Without rules, they become full-time courtroom lawyers. Every decision turns into a neighborhood argument. Ball goes out of play. Normally, that's a throw-in. Today, it's philosophy. One player picks up the ball. Another player says, "That's ours." A fan says, "It hit him last." A coach says, "Show me the evidence." A substitute says, "I saw everything," even though he was tying his shoe. The referee looks at the ball, looks at the line, looks at the sky, and silently applies for a new job. Without throw-ins, corners, and goal kicks, the ball leaving the pitch becomes a national emergency. Every restart is now a debate club. The ball crosses the sideline and 22 players start pointing in different directions like confused traffic officers. One guy throws the ball in. Another says throw-ins don't exist. So he throws it harder. Somebody's uncle in the stands starts shouting the old rules like ancient scripture. Back in my day, that was a corner. But corners are gone too, which means defenders discover the greatest tactic of all time. Panic clearance into the parking lot. Under pressure? Kick it out. Dangerous cross? Kick it out. Goalkeeper nervous? Kick it out. Opponent looking confident? Kick it out with jealousy. There is no punishment anymore. A defender can launch the ball into row Z and call it defensive art. At some point, the stadium runs out of balls. A ball boy quits. Another ball boy becomes captain. Nobody knows how. Then the goalkeepers get involved. And this is where the sport completely loses the plot. Goalkeepers are already dangerous when they think they can pass. Remove all restrictions, and suddenly every keeper believes he is a midfielder trapped in gloves. He saves a shot, crowd cheers. Instead of distributing the ball, he starts dribbling. Past one player, past two players, past the halfway line. Now he's doing step-overs. Now he's asking for a 1-2. Now he's shooting from 30 yards while his actual goal is completely abandoned behind him like an unlocked apartment. The coach screams, "Get back!" The goalkeeper screams, "I am football now." And because hands are allowed, every player slowly becomes a goalkeeper. The striker catches crosses. The left back punches clearances. The midfielder carries the ball under his shirt like he's smuggling snacks into a cinema. Positions disappear. Formations disappear. The classic 4-3-3 becomes a 0-0 chaos. Commentators try to keep up. Interesting tactical setup here. 7 goalkeepers, 3 wrestlers, 2 men arguing near the sideline, and 1 striker still living inside the net. By the 60th minute, the scoreboard is broken. Not because the score is too high, because nobody can agree what a goal is anymore. One team says the ball crossed the line. The other team says the line is just a suggestion. A defender says he blocked it with his hand before it went in. Everyone says that's allowed. The goalkeeper says he was fouled. Everyone says fouls are dead. The striker says he was offside. Everyone says offside is also dead. The referee looks directly into the camera like a man who has seen the future and wants no part of it. Then the fans enter the story. Because once rules disappear, boundaries disappear. A manager steps onto the pitch to explain something. Then his assistant follows him. Then a substitute follows the assistant. Then one fan leans over the barrier and says, "Put me in, coach." Nobody can legally stop him. So now there is a random man in jeans marking the right winger. And somehow, he is doing better than the actual fullback. The mascot joins too. Nobody invited him. He just saw the system collapse and chose opportunity. Now the match has 22 players, 3 coaches, 2 substitutes, 1 mascot, a fan named Dave, and a referee who has officially become decorative. This is the moment football stops being a sport. It becomes a group project with no teacher, and every group project with no teacher ends the same way. 1 person does all the work. 3 people argue. 1 person disappears, and someone puts their name on the presentation at the end. By the 80th minute, the match is 38-34. Maybe. The scoreboard operator has given up and is now counting vibes. Both teams claim they are winning. The managers demand extra time. The players demand water. The referee demands silence. The fans demand more chaos because, unfortunately, chaos is very entertaining, and that's the dangerous part. For the first 10 minutes, everyone would love football without rules. It would be hilarious. Goals everywhere. Players flying around. Goalkeepers attacking. Strikers camping. Defenders committing acts of cartoon violence. Every highlight channel on Earth would explode. But then slowly, people would realize something. The rules are annoying because they are working. Offside is annoying until your striker spends 90 minutes standing inside the opponent's goal like furniture. Fouls are annoying until your winger gets tackled so hard he starts remembering birthdays from 2008. Handball is confusing until every match turns into basketball with shin pads. Cards feel harsh until one defender discovers he has unlimited lives. Throw-ins are boring until the ball leaves the pitch and society collapses. The truth is, football rules are like bathroom doors. You don't celebrate them every day, but remove them, and suddenly everybody understands why they mattered. So yes, fans will always complain. That's our job. We complain about referees. We complain about VAR. We complain about offside lines being drawn with the confidence of a man measuring curtains. We complain when the game is too strict. Then we complain when it is not strict enough. Football fans do not want peace. We want correct chaos. But if we actually took away every rule in football today, the beautiful game would not become freer. It would become a public emergency with corner flags. One match would be enough. By full time, players would be exhausted. Managers would be hoarse. The referee would be sitting in the center circle, questioning civilization. And the fans who begged for fewer rules would be outside the stadium hugging the rule book like an old friend. Because football without rules sounds fun until your left back starts dribbling with his hands. Your striker moves into the goal mouth. Your goalkeeper becomes a winger, and the mascot scores the winner in the 97th minute with a folding chair. At that point, everyone would agree. Maybe the rules are not ruining football. Maybe the rules are the only reason football isn't just 22 men arguing over a ball until sunset. So next time a referee blows the whistle, and you scream at the TV, just remember, it could be worse. He could have no whistle, no cards, no rule book, and Dave from row 12 could be playing center back.